Hey, Zach here with Techno CNC, back with another tutorial video for you. Today we're going to be going over some of the pneumatic controls, setting up our MDF, gasketing, and vacuum table. Alright, let's get into the pneumatic controls. One of our first pneumatic controls is going to be our dust shroud. You may need to raise this or lower it in order to load a tool, inspect what's going on under there. There may be a number of reasons you might use that. So in order to manually actuate the shroud, we're going to use our K2 button on our handheld controller, and that will actuate the shroud. The next important pneumatic control we have is going to be our pop-up pins. You'll need to use these to align your material, your MDF, in order to make sure that you get the same position each time you load a new sheet. So especially if you're running high production, you can just pop up your pins, load your material right on, run your files, and then load a new piece and continue on your production. In order to actuate the pop-up pins, we're going to do this by holding the shift button right here, and pressing our K2 button. So we're going to hold shift, press K2, and you'll see the pop-up pins actuate. All right, before we use the pop-up pins to align our MDF and our material, we have to make sure our gasketing is all set and we remove our vacuum plugs from the vacuum table. You'll see we have these vacuum plugs all around the table. Wherever your MDF spoil board is going to be covering your table, wherever you're going to be using the vacuum, you want to remove those caps from underneath before loading any MDF onto the table. While you're doing that, you can also inspect your gasketing around the edges of the zones and ensure that they are seated properly, they're not getting bunched up or falling out of the grooves. All right, now that we've made sure our vacuum table is prepped and ready to go for our spoil board, we're going to pop up the pins and align our spoil board to the pins. All right, so we've carefully placed our spoil board onto the vacuum table. You may be using, this is a 4x8 sheet, you may be running a 4x8, 5x10, or even a 4x4, whatever size fits your machine or your production. Once you have it carefully placed on the table, we recommend that you shape the spoil board and slide it into position that way up against the alignment pins. That way it helps to minimize the risk of your gasketing pulling up and out of those grooves, and you would then be losing your vacuum and you won't get good hold down. So make sure when you do that, you're careful and you're just shaping the whole board to get it just to jump into position for you. After that, we're going to throw our material on top of here and slide it up against our alignment pins, and that will ensure that we always align our material to the same position every time. I'm going to carefully slide our material. Make sure it's up against your locator pins. From there, we can lower our pins using our Shift K2 button. And then we're ready to turn on our vacuum and get some hold down here. All right, here on the front of the machine, we have our vacuum valves. We have the main valve here, and then individual zones. You can see the picture we have here highlighted in yellow will indicate which zone corresponds with which valve. So you can turn on your pump, turn on your main, and then you're going to turn on whatever zones that you have your spoil board and material on. All right, thank you for watching. In the next video, we're going to be talking about setting zeros and loading and running our files. We'll see you in the next video.